Good evening. We love the energy in this room. So first of all, let me say welcome, but I'm going to come back to say welcome. Molly Pierce is just going to give you some quick information, and I'll be right back. Molly.
Hey everybody, couple quick housekeeping announcements. Most importantly, restrooms are out this door, turn left, and they're in the main building right there. Men's and women's are open. Additionally, there are flyers with department information for all of the folks that you see back here, right by the entrance. If you didn't sign in when you came, please do so before you leave. We're trying to get a good idea of what communities are represented at these meetings, and this is a really good way to help us do that. Additionally, when you do speak into the microphone, if you ask questions, adjust the mic so that it's picking up your voice. If you have an issue, just wave at us and we'll happily help you adjust it, just so that we can make sure that we record the questions so that we can get the best information to pass it back to you. Thanks so much.
Thank you. Thank you, Molly. Well, I want to start off tonight with an Oli by Auntie Kayla Miller.
And we want to invite those who know this to come up with us. It's a family thing.
And you come up here by the microphone, ladies. You come up by the microphone. No? You want to do it there? Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
All right, I got it.
Mayor, we're so happy that you're here in Laie. Part of Koʻolauloa. We're glad that you're here and we want to welcome you.
Thank you.
Iki mai e na pua I ka laie, ke pi ia e lai kumauna ki e ki e, ha'a mai na ka mame ka makua, e vehi pura ma o ke kupuna, e ka imai ale ka imai ana, e raha I ka leo o ka hapue, aloha e, lele la miloa ua mali e, ke hoea e la e ka moa e, ahu kai ina wali, kai koʻolauloa e, ua pi kai, iau kai ie, aloha.
Aloha. How beautiful. Thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you, Auntie. Thank you very much. Okay, we're going to do a pule also with Jerome. Can you come up, please? Jerome Ulaave.
Our Father in heaven, we're grateful for this evening, for the opportunity that we have to be together with our leaders. We're grateful for them, for their sacrifice, and ask a special blessing upon them and their families. I'm grateful for this community that we live in, for the opportunity that we have to enjoy each other's company, to live here and to love each other. I'm grateful for the opportunity that we have now to hear from our leaders and to be heard. And we pray that we may do so with kindness and civility. We pray for an outpouring of thy Spirit here this evening. And we offer this prayer at the beginning of this meeting. And do so in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Jerome. Okay, I want to do a couple of quick introductions, and I hope that they're here. Is Council Member Matt Wire here? Councilman Matt Wire, please. Thank you, Matt. Welcome. I'm glad you've come tonight. Thank you for coming. Also, I saw State Senator Brenton Ava. Brenton, thank you. I'm not sure. State Representatives, is Sean Quinlan in the house tonight? Or Lisa Kitagawa? I didn't see them. They may come later. Okay. All right. One of the things that we got done early on that we were determined to do is we stood up a youth commission, and we have some incredible young people who we're trying to give every opportunity to inspire them as the future leaders of our island. So Bronson Azama is here tonight. He's just one. I've given them, we've done 5 of these up till now. We've given them each a couple of minutes, Bronson, a couple of minutes, to just say what they want to say. So without any further ado, Bronson Azama.
Mahalo, Mayor, and mahalo to all of you. So just super grateful to be here and to have our partnership with the Mayor, as well as many, and to be connected with many youth from across the different communities as we're all sort of trying to navigate what our future is going to look like. In our case, you know, for us young people, we don't necessarily always have the wisdom of what needs to be done, but definitely the will and the want to. So without taking up much of your time, just really here to learn from all of you, because, you know, sometimes people make decisions that are always not the best, but it doesn't make them bad people. It's just a matter of being informed. So just really here to learn from all of you, to hear what your concerns are, how we can better help our youth. A little bit of my background is just hail from the ʻāhupo of He'eia. I'm very privileged to be connected with some of you folks and to have learned from the wisdom from some of the elders also in this room too. So mahalo to all of you, and really hope to continue to learn from each and every one of you about the unique issues that you're facing. I know Auntie Dottie, I see her, really climate change has been a pressing issue for the Youth Commission, and we hope to learn more about other ways in which we can better help improve the conditions for our OPO here in this community as well as across the island. So mahalo nui for the time, and mahalo. Yeah.
Bronson, you're welcome. I tell you, impressive and inspiring. It's been very encouraging for us to take nothing away from what Bronson just said. If we had them all up here and they all spoke just as eloquently as he did, it would give you great hope for our future. So tonight is your meeting. This is the 6th meeting that we have done. We're purposely not going to make any presentations. It's our intention tonight to answer as many questions as we possibly can. And I'm going to talk about the ground rules of that in just a moment. But let me just say to you, not only do I feel that I have the privilege and the blessing to be the mayor of the city and county of Honolulu, but the men and women who are behind me inspire me every day by the hour. So one of the things that we're really proud of is we brought our cabinet here tonight for a lot of reasons. We consider this to be a journey of learning from us and to, you know, learn from you at the same time, hopefully learn from us. This is our resource center here. We're recording tonight's event because one of the things we do is we promise we're going to follow up, but I brought the expertise in the room here tonight. And what we can't answer, and I'll talk about that a little bit, because first I want them to introduce themselves. We will follow up with you. We're taking a lot of pride in being able to do this because that's our intention. So without any further ado, I think we'll start it off here with Dr. Jim Ireland. Let's use the handheld mic.
Thanks, Mayor. Thank you all for coming. My name is Jim Ireland. I'm the Director of the Emergency Services Department for the City and County, which runs EMS, the ambulance service, Ocean Safety, our lifeguards, and Health Services, our city occupational health, as well as the new core program that's aimed at helping homelessness. Normally I have a white shirt, but in the spirit of Laie, I took a stop by the Gunstock Ranch on the way out, so I wore my palaka. Thank you all for coming.
Yeah, aloha, I'm glad to be here. Yeah, my name is Stephen Courtney. I'm the Deputy Director for the Department of Information Technology. We're the ones that provide the computing, the data storage, the network and communications that make this make this city runs well. Mahalo.
Aloha, good evening. Kalani Hall, Fire Chief of the Honolulu Fire Department. Happy to be here. Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Hiro Toya. I'm the Director for the Department of Emergency Management. We coordinate the city's preparedness, response, and recovery from disasters.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Erwin Kawata. I'm the Deputy Manager at the Board of Water Supply.
Aloha, I'm Carrie Casso. I'm the Deputy Director with Budget and Fiscal Services. I'm a longtime resident in Kāne. Driving out this way was a nice reminder of how beautiful your place is. So thank you for having us.
Good evening, everyone. Kat Tashner. I am the Acting Director for the Department of Land Management. I am also the Mayor's Neighborhood Rep for this neighborhood board for Koʻolauloa. So thank you for having me. Very nice to see you all.
Hi, good evening, everyone. My name is Dawn Sevchek. I'm the Director and Chief Engineer for the Department of Facility Maintenance. Thanks for having us tonight.
Hi, everyone. I'm Bugs Baguio. I'm Assistant Director of Human Resources. Just like Gunstock Ranch, we are hiring at the city. If you, I'm absolutely serious. If you folks want a job, a career with the city, see my man Andrew way in the back in the red, and he'll be happy to talk to you, or I will also personally. Thank you.
Aloha, everyone. Mike O'Keefe, Deputy Director with the city's Department of Environmental Services. We manage all of the wastewater and the solid waste on Oʻahu.
Hi, good evening, everyone. Mike Formby, Managing Director, and I have the honor of working with all the department directors and deputies. And I had a lot of goals tonight when I came here to meet a lot of people, but I especially wanted to meet Dottie, and I got to do that. So thank you, Dottie.
Good evening, everybody. Krishna Jayaram. I'm the Deputy Managing Director. Thank you all for being here, and thank you for having us here tonight.
Aloha, everyone. Glad to be here. My name is Sam Moku, Chief of Staff for Mayor Blangiardi.
Aloha, everyone. My name is Jiro Sumada. I'm the Deputy Director for the Department of Planning and Permitting. We take care of building permits and land use development permits.
Hi, my name is Amy Asselby. I am the Director for the Office of Economic Revitalization. Aloha.
Aloha, everyone. Jerry Papillo, Director of Enterprise Services. It's great to see everybody out here tonight in full force. We handle the Blaisdell Complex, 6 golf courses, which one of them is often voted one of the most beautiful courses anywhere here in Kahuku, so be proud of that. We are. And also the Honolulu Zoo and Waikiki Shell. Thank you.
Aloha and good evening, everyone. My name is Denise Matsubara. I have the good fortune of joining Mayor. This is my 3rd week on the job as the new Office of Housing Director. Thank you for having us.
Aloha, good evening. My name is Matt Gonzer, and I serve as the Executive Director for the Office of Climate Change, Sustainability, and Resiliency, which was created by the voters in 2016.
Hello, everybody. My name is Roger Morton. I'm the Director of Transportation Services for the city and county. We operate all the public transit systems, the bus, which we got a great ridership up here, the handy van, and in a few short months, we'll be operating the Honolulu rail system. We also are responsible for traffic engineering, traffic signals, complete streets, humps and bumps, and all the other things that make our lives safer.
Good evening. My name is Brian Gallagher. I'm the Deputy Director of the City Department of Design and Construction. So we do all the major construction, repair, rehab for roads, sidewalks, drainage systems, rehab for police stations, fire stations, parks. Anything that needs major rehab, we do it. Thank you.
Hi, everyone. I'm Kim Hashiro. I'm the Director for the Department of Customer Services. We provide driver's licensing, satellite city halls, and public communication services for the city.
Aloha mai kako, John Nouchi. I am Deputy Director of DTS with Roger for all things transportation.
Aloha, good evening, everyone. It's just so nice to be back home. Grew up in Hauula, Kahuku class of '89, go Big Red.
Aloha, everyone. I'm Roddy Vanek, Deputy Chief of the Honolulu Police Department. We do a little bit of everything. We're also hiring. If you folks want to become police officers or know someone interested, we have constant recruitment. You can see myself, any one of the officers, or go online. Be glad to help you.
Warren Mamizuka, Deputy Director, Department of Facility Maintenance. I was just so excited, everybody. Yeah. Auntie Kelly, Auntie Bear, that's all you guys.
I should have had him the microphone after I talk because that's a tough act to follow. I'm Laura Thielen. I'm the director for the Department of Parks and Recreation. We manage all the city parks, but also the 5 botanical gardens and all of the street trees.
Aloha, I'm Anton Krucky. I'm the director of the Department of Community Services. We do elderly affairs. We do Work Hawaii job training. We're the public housing authority with all the vouchers. We also do a lot of work with buying properties and developing properties with service providers. And we also manage the GIA, which are the grants and aid. And we're taking on also early childhood resource. And I'll introduce that man.
Aloha, everyone. I'm Ted Burke. I'm the Early Childhood Resource Coordinator supporting Honolulu's youngest keiki.
Good evening, Lori Kahikina, CEO and Executive Director of HEART, the Train.
Get over to Lloyd. Run it over here. And Scott and Ian, you guys should introduce yourselves real quick. Am I the last? No. Oh, usually I'm the last. Lloyd Yoninaka. I am the Executive Secretary for the Neighborhood Boards. Do we have any board members here? All right. I am from Ka'ava. I did go only 2 years at Kahuku, then I went to school in town. But as we all know, once a Red Raider.
Aloha, everyone. I'm Scott Humber, the Director of Communications.
Aloha, everybody. Ian Shuring, Deputy Communications Director. I used to work for the mayor in TV, so naturally I'm the guy running the cameras tonight.
Thank you. And we have several of our other staff members, but we really want to get into the questions and answers. So let me just say what everybody has said here already. Thank you for being here tonight. This is a great crowd, so we're really excited. I can feel it in the room tonight. So let's just talk about how we'd like to conduct this. Really simple. I said at the outset, this is your meeting, and selfishly we're here to participate in it with you. I can promise you we're here to listen, to learn, and to answer questions. But let me be really clear about this. We're not here to tell you what you might want to hear, and then we can't deliver on that. We're here to be truthful with you and to do our best to listen and see what we can do. But at the end of the day, we're not going to turn this into something where we say something that we can't deliver on. That would ruin the integrity of a moment like this. So we're going to have a truthful conversation with you. All I ask is when you come up to the microphone, I get to be the moderator. Okay? So when you come up to the microphone, and we don't have to form a line because that'll just block people in the back. We've got enough time. We started at 7 on time. We're going to end at 9, but a lot of us will stay around afterwards, okay? But we've got 2 hour and 45 minutes. All I ask is that you ask your question as soon as possible. I don't mind a little bit of context, but no speech making up here, okay? And that's fair. Ask the question. If I can answer, I will, but I would bet that probably most of the questions will be directed to somebody behind us. And I'm going to say it again, we want to be truthful. We will be professional. We ask the same in return, all right? We're here to help, and we want to be engaged. So also, ask us anything. I can promise you nobody's told me one question that we might get asked tonight. We're prepared to do it as spontaneously and as real as we can possibly make this experience. It's our goal that by the time you leave here tonight, you feel like this was really worth your time, it was worthwhile, and hopefully you learned a lot from it, because I know we will. So without any further ado, first person up, let's go. All right. Yeah.
Can I go first?
Yes.
Sorry.
Yes. Okay.
I just wanted to, before I leave, because I have to leave, my name is Auntie Kella Miller. I was born and raised right here in this beautiful town of Laie. I married the handsomest man in the world. His name is Swanee Miller. But I lived in Hauʻula most of my married life, so I have both communication between Hauʻula and Laie. But my question is, why do we have a district park without a swimming pool. We have one of the best athletes in all of Hawaii, and my question is, we still do not have a swimming pool at a district park. We have a district park in Hauʻula, we have a district park in Kahuku, but we don't have a swimming pool. Although we have the BYU Hawaii, but you know, we're not always one of the favorite ones to go to BYU and try to get, you know, because we still have to pay for the usage of BYU Hawaii's swimming pool. So if we can get a swimming pool, that will really help. And Mayor, we're just grateful that you're here. I just wanted to say that. Thank you. And Mr. Mamezuka, good to see you at home.
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
Aloha.
I'm going to turn this over to Laura Thielen, who'll give you a little bit of history because she's the head of Parks and Recreation. I would tell you, we spent a little bit of time talking amongst ourselves in our own internal preparation, and someone said to me, I bet the pool issue comes up because they don't have a pool out there. And I would tell you, this is only in the last 48 hours. That's the first time that I heard that. So I'm going to let Laura give you some context, okay?
So this district for the, can you hear now? Okay. So this district, there is no pool in between Kaneohe and Wailua. There is no gym between Kaneohe and Wailua. It's about the longest stretch we have. This mayor is really concerned about equity in recreation facilities, but not just facilities, also the programs that come with facilities. Because if you don't have the pool, you don't have the swimming lessons. You don't have the water aerobics for the kapuna. If you don't have the gym, you don't have the basketball leagues, the volleyball leagues, the indoor tai chi, the other things like that. So there's two areas that we're focusing on. Leeward, which also doesn't have the same type of recreation facilities as East Honolulu, urban Honolulu, and near West Honolulu, and then this area as well. So we're trying to work on the budget to begin to do some design, and we've been talking with a number of people here about siting facilities at the park, because when that original plan was drawn, it was before all the flood zone stuff, but there's some elevated properties in that district park that might be suitable. And so we would like to very much work with you folks and with the council member to move forward some designs to be able to bring the needed facilities here. And I've asked the staff in the department, we've trained them on how to come up with CIP plans. One of their top priorities that the staff is bringing forward is some type of facilities at this park, because we run summer fun program, and that serves about 10,000 kids around the island, including the junior leaders, and we need the facilities to be able to do the programs here and to provide that. So we look forward to working with you.
Thank you, Laura. You know, thank you, Laura. I started my week out Monday morning doing a press conference on summer fun, but the thing about that press conference is we did it at Waipahu, and we did it next to the swimming pool that's going to open on May 1st. It was there full of water, and the keiki pool that had been closed for 7 years, okay? So knowing about that, but having a pool in the ground that we had to get ready was easier than perhaps creating a pool. But what Laura said, we're most sincere about. And I'll just tell you on a personal note, because I may say it some other time during the course of the evening. We are, as a team, extraordinarily sensitive culturally. We have deep respect for the roles we play, the place we live, and what we're responsible for. Within that, I can tell you on a personal bias, I have a deep respect for how people play. For those of you who know anything about me, I spent my 20s as a college football coach, and everything about me was rooted in that experience from the days I played and the days I coached, and it carried me all the way through my career in broadcast. Understanding how people play in Hawaii and what's important to them in our parks, which is why I'm so grateful Laura's in charge of the parks, but these kinds of facilities and the shortages of them is mind-numbing to me. So I can promise you, look, we've been in office for 27 months, and this is not an excuse. More than 14 months, more than half our time was more than preoccupied, distracted by COVID for all kinds of reasons. It's not an excuse, it was a reality, okay? We're now pulling out of that. So hopefully we're going to be around for a while. I know Laura to be most sincere. We'll take a look at that. A place like this, and I'll say it again, with so many great athletes out here and the families out here, you should have facilities like that. The fact that we have such a large stretch out here without pools and without gymnasiums, it's amazing, okay? All right, next question, sir.
Thank you, Mayor, and thank you, Laura. Aloha. My name is Gil Riviere.
I recognize you.
I'm really excited to hear the response to the first question, and my question was going to be basically the same. I'd like to add to the game changer I think that really should propel this forward is AES, the folks that are responsible for those things. They have they've offered $4 million to the community as part of their benefits package. The $4 million can go towards a long way towards seeding the money for that gym and that swimming pool. They only ask for $1.5 million match to equal that. So with $1.5 million match from the city, we've got $4 million already on the table on our way to making this a reality. And if that can happen, and if there's any way that I can help in the discussions,
I want to follow up with you, Gil, on that. That's the first I heard about that. Just to be clear on the math, it's $1.5 million from the city and $4 million from them for $5.5 million, so, or the $1.5 million is within the $4 million?
Great question. The AES came out and they said they're willing to give $2.5 million unfettered,
okay,
and they would boost that by an additional $1.5 million matching dollar for dollar.
Oh, so it's $5.5 million.
So it's 5.5 with for the cost of $1.5 million.
That's good.
Yep. So very
That's
good.
the first I heard of that. We will follow up. Okay.
We'll have that talk. Thank you very much. Thanks for being here tonight.
You're welcome. Thank you. Anybody?
Aloha, welcome all of you all. I'll make a quick preface and then my questions. So in 2022, your administration, and I don't know who is helping you, your administration went to the state legislature and as a legislative package asked for a non-judicial power of sale. This means that based on DPP's fine, any private property can be sold without going to court based on DPP fines. And this year, last year you guys failed. This year, your administration came back again with 6 clone bills, and hopefully it will fail again, because we're very concerned that this, I understand.
What's your question, Chun?
Okay, so my question is, how did this even come about? Because it's unconstitutional and it's really communist and a bully. And are you going to come back again in 2024 to ask for this very unconstitutional powers?
Thank you, Chun. Chun James, by the way, I suspect. And when you come up to the microphone, you get one question, by the way. And you can come back after somebody else on another topic.
Oh, so we can come back,
You come back, yeah, sure you can, but one question at a time. I want to let Mike Formby handle this.
Okay, so the question is, are you going to come back again 2024? That's a bigger question.
Yeah, so to be very honest, Chun, we probably will. And I'll tell you why, the intent behind the proposed legislation. It is not intended to be used for the DPP type smaller infractions against homeowners. I've heard Natalie Iwasa talk about that before council and write comments about it. It's intended for abandoned properties that become a nuisance in a neighborhood, and they become infested with rats and homeless, and the community around them looks to the city, and the council members look to the city and they ask us, please eliminate this nuisance from our neighborhood. And sometimes those homes have 150 or 250, we have one with $650,000 in fines because the owners have abandoned it and they said, we wash our hands of it. And they leave it as a blight on the community. And by getting non-judicial foreclosure, we can cut out about 2.5 years in removing those properties from neighborhoods and turning them into community gardens or affordable housing or things that the community wants to see. That's the purpose of the legislation. And we would never use it in a way that somebody would claim was unconstitutional or a violation of the rights. And I think Natalie and people that object to that should come and ask us, what the purpose is, because I think it's a good purpose.
Mike, you understand that once it is law and it's the ordinance, it opens up and it holds every resident, every property on the island to this. So I totally understand that you guys have problems with monster homes.
Right.
You guys have problems with illegal vacation. You guys have very little problem properties, such as what you're talking about. I think it was in Kelvin Say's district. But the idea that someone would come up with such an overreaching power, non-judicial, it means that you are really blocking a citizen's due process to even go to court to protect their own private properties.
Yeah, and I disagree with you, Chun.
Yeah, and I disagree too, Chun. You know, this is the last group, I'm going to start with myself, that's interested in doing anything that's unconstitutional. And while I appreciate your position, what Mike just said is exactly what our intent is.
Well, okay, just one last thing. Go look for the case, Supreme Court case and Ruth Ginsburg wrote the opinion. She said, and like anybody else, this is unconstitutional. This is takings of private property rights, and there's just so much. Maybe you guys don't have the time, but please go look at it. Timms versus Indiana. Timms
Thank you, we
versus
will.
Indiana.
We will. Thank you, Chun.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mike. Okay. Yes.
I'd like to concur and agree with what she said. Basically, our fundamental constitutional rights are being degraded. And unfortunately, it's because of the laws that the City Council has put into place or wants to override us. And yes, that's why I said I agree with her.
Okay.
My question is, where do you get that authority from? You're just the City Council or the Mayor. You're not the legislature. It is the right of the Senate and the House to enact law.
Okay, thank you.
What you're doing is far
Okay.
overreaching, excuse me, but I'm very passionate about this, and we want an answer. Where do you people get your authority from?
Okay. Who would like to answer for us? We have a lot of lawyers here. The question, if the question is what we think it is where do we get our authority from?
Yeah, so we put a draft bill to the state,
legislature.
and it would be voted upon by the House and the Senate, and it would become law. And they've chosen not to advance that bill since we've been in office, but at some point in the future they might choose to, and it would become law.
Well, you don't have that authority, sir.
No, we have the
With
authority.
all due respect.
No, with all due respect, ma'am. We have the authority to advance bills to the Senate and to the House. We do.
But
Look,
you're
hey,
not the legislature
We are-
to enact the bill.
We're all sworn in. We have responsibility for the city and county of Honolulu.
No, the city charter
And,
doesn't give you the right to enact bills, even though you've added a portion. But it still doesn't say you have the right to enact bills.
So Mayor, can
Leave it
I
alone.
just
You
respond?
people have a lot to take care of with your ordinances. Please. We
okay.
hardly have enough to eat now with our families. So please,
Okay.
The only response I'd like
do
to
your
make
jobs.
is at the city
and
and
let
county
the
level, under the
legislature
charter,
do
the
theirs.
council has the authority to enact laws. And at the state level, the legislature, the Senate and the House have the authority to enact
Where
laws.
does it say that in the...
All right, you know what? I am not going to turn this
State-
into a debate forum tonight.
Well, I
think
know,
we've
but
properly
you're not
answered your
answering
question.
my question.
I want to get on to other questions.
answering
I
my
said
question.
we have answered your question.
You haven't answered it.
Okay, well, thank you. All right? Okay. I don't want to be argumentative, but I would tell you, if you're going to persist on something after you've been giving a decent answer, then I'm going to move it on, because there's a lot of people we want to hear from. You just don't want to hear what we said to you. And I can't help it if you don't want to hear what we said to you. We do. Okay, ma'am.
Hi, just wanted to make a comment on the pool. I'm really glad to hear that it's actually being considered and that there are designs being put forward. I've been involved in water polo through my five of my daughters, for the last 27 years. And so we've seen them practice at Waimea Bay. We've seen them practice up in a little tiny pool that has frogs and leaves and in the low 60s and fog when they practice up there at the Girl Scout pool. And the times where BYU Hawaii, as wonderful as they have not been very receptive to letting us practice when we need to practice and for as long as we need to practice, not having the facilities to have actual games in our own hometown in this longest stretch, you know, without facilities. So I'm really grateful to see that coming. I would just like to put forth some suggestions for as you design the pool to make it competition, you know, able to hold competitions, okay, so that we can do that. I mean, that would be awesome, and not just for water polo, but for swimming as well. So we're not going to little facilities like at Kalani. We love going to, you know, to Corp, you know, at Mililani. It's awesome, but if we could have something where we can have people come to us, and we don't always have to go.
Make it a part of the destination. I agree. I can't imagine that if we could actively build a pool, I can pretty much assure you, based on the people that are up here, it would be a competition-sized pool. Point
awesome. Thank you.
Sorry, more about the pool. Only this, I'm only saying this.
Because I wanted to move to different topics, but
What?
go ahead.
Really fast.
Because I have this right here in my face to begin with all night.
I love it.
Which I'm okay with,
Yes,
okay?
we know.
All right.
I heard, so Leeward and our side is in the works. My question is, can we be first? And this is why.
Here,
on this side of the island, so that we don't have to travel more than 45 minutes. Like Susan said, we cannot depend on BYU all the time.
Right.
We're not their priority, their students are. Now, in the past, let's see, girls water polo started OIA 2003. This is 2023. This week is OIA championships. I'm a former player and coach. And in these past years, 15 out of the 17 Kahuku has won without a pool. Ask us how many state championship titles we have. 0. Because we don't have a pool. We cannot compete with Punalu, Iolani. Come on, I take that back. We can. But I just say,
I understand what you mean.
if we had a pool, we can train as long as we want in the afternoon, in the morning, on the weekends. We can do the same. We did come runner-up. What year is that, Kayla? Her senior year, when she was the goalie, we did beat Iolani and we got second place. But we do need this pool. We need it on this side, not just for the high school kids. I will say this. I started swimming at 7 years old on Maui, and they have pools 15, 20 minutes away, Lahaina, Kihei, up country, everywhere. And it was because I swam when I was young. I was able to come here and move to Oʻahu, make friends through swimming and water polo. That's where I learned to play water polo, was here, because we didn't have a swim team out here. And that's how I got my scholarship to play at UH. Okay, so that was the only reason why I was able to do that, because I swam when I was little.
Yes.
And I know there's a lot of more athletes like that in this community, not only football. I mean, I cheer the loudest, but I'm just saying, swimming and water polo is the only sport you can, I shouldn't say this, be rough with the players and not get busted for it. But thank you for being here.
Your points are well taken. Thank you. Duly noted. And we love the passion. We love the passion. I don't mind fielding a couple questions about the pool. I think, just so you three people who said it, we've heard you. We've heard you. Yes, ma'am.
And Mr. Mayor, my question is, did you get here via the beautifully paved Talieva to Waimea Highway, or our man-eating Cam Highway?
Yeah.
And what are we doing about
Cam
it,
Highway,
please?
Yeah. Who wants to take a shot? This is a state question, okay? I'm not passing the buck, but it's a state question. But anybody, Matt? Gonzer, Roger Morton, who said he's in charge of all things like this, if you heard him.
Well, first, I'm so envious of you folks that live in really the most beautiful part of Oahu, and I know everybody wants to keep it that way. I'm not in charge of the state highway, but I am in charge of public transportation, and I understand the issues that you have with a resource that's being overtaxed now with too many people trying to use their cars to block your highways. So I do have a vision. I have a vision of improving shuttle bus system on Oʻahu, building some parking lots at the extremities so that we can intercept some of these people that I understand why they want to come to the North Shore, to the windward side, because it is such a beautiful resource, really world-class, just the beauty that we have here. So we do that. We'll invest in public transportation. We'll invest in bikes. We'll invest in bikeways. We'll improve the ones that we have here. And we are in the process of trying to put those together. That's a long-term strategy. It's not a short-term strategy. But we are trying to reprogram some of our efforts so that we can start the dialogue with the community to see what we can do to try to make this better. I don't think anybody wants a 4-lane highway trying to stretch through here. We've got to do more. We've got to just to attack the problem, and the problem is just too many cars are trying to use the highway. That's all I can say to you tonight.
You know, Senator, you can come up here if you want to just tell everybody. So apparently the Department of Transportation, the state, will be out here on Thursday, May 14th. Says 11? This is what happens when you get older. May 11th. I'm sorry, it does say May 11th. From 5:30 to 7:30 at the Ka'ava Elementary School cafeteria to talk about that very thing. Look, Roger here, I don't want to embarrass any of my guys. In fact, there's somebody who just walked into the room I want you to meet. But we all know that people really, we have a lot of bus ridership in Hawaii, our island, Oʻahu. The buses won all kinds of national awards. Roger ran the bus for over 40 years. We're so pleased to have him join our team to take on the running of rail once Lori finishes building it, which is going to start pretty soon. But if this man tells you something, I can tell you he has transportation in his blood, and so we'll see what we can do, okay?
I mean, part of that question was, what are we doing to fix Cam Highway, which is, as we all know, falling apart?
Yeah, you know, I'd like to have Ed Sniffen here to talk about that. But when Mike and I were driving out here, we saw the rock embankments, we saw the different things that have gone on. You know, I come at this job having spent 43 years in media, and the last 10 of them were running Hawaii News Now. So while I might have been new to government, I certainly wasn't new to the issues, and I can't tell you how many times we did stories on that and watched it and have had conversations. We're fighting against nature. You know, years ago in the 60s, when I used to come out here, it wasn't like this, and we recognized it. And I was going to ask Matt Gonzo if there's anything he wanted to say from the climate change, but we're very aware. We're fighting the elements, we're fighting time right now. And I can tell you that I don't think anybody's putting their head in the sand and not paying attention to that. I'd like to introduce, where's Ernie? I just saw Ernie walk in here. Here he is, right here. This, somebody I think you would know. He just got here a little bit late. Ernie, just introduce yourself, let them know who you are.
Thank you, Mayor. I was hoping to sneak in here quietly, but aloha, everybody. Ernie Lau, Board of Water Supply. Ola ikawai. Thank you.
So I'm glad Ernie's in the room and Erwin Kawata's in the room. Two guys who know a lot about water if anything like that comes up. Where's Brenton? Oh, he's over there. Okay, we'll give him back his... Laura, would you give... Can I keep this? It's nice. Okay, who else? Come on.
Hi, I'm Barbara Tatsuguchi from Hauula, and what I really would like you to do is help us get lights at Hauula Playground. Last August, there were only 4 lights lit for pickleball. We play pickleball there. I have 2 senior groups that play there at night because we're busy during the day. Now, we can't play at night because we can't see. It's dangerous. All right, we called in. That was in August. Last August. I appealed to your representative at a neighborhood board meeting in January. I appealed to our councilman. It wasn't until the first Monday in April that someone came out to work on the lights.
So Did you get the lights?
7 lights out of 16 that we should have. That's not
We
enough.
only have 7.
Okay, then by 2 days later, it was down to 5 lights. Now, they were just out again this Tuesday. We have 8 lights.
Okay.
That's not the only problem. I think it was 3 years ago, the lights over the field were taken down, and I was told that money was allocated to have them replaced. It's 3 years now, nothing's been done.
Okay.
Okay?
Laura, I don't have Laura. I could say something.
Appreciate the fact that you understand the value of play, exercise for us seniors as well.
I do, and I would tell you, I'm also fascinated at the popularity of pickleball. I am fascinated by it, okay?
You know, our seniors are 70 and I'm 88.
God
and we
bless
play.
you. God bless you.
You're 88, and I bet you could take me on a pickleball court. I already spoke with David, I think it is, and I have his email. We'll be going out and double checking on the lights. My understanding was they had been fixed, but he showed me some pictures and we're missing bulbs. So we will go out and we'll work on that. I also shared the good news that we now have a roofing contract with 4 roofing companies. They've gone out, they've taken a look at the community center roof. It can't just be patched, so we're going to go in and do a full-on re-roofing job. There's a whole list of jobs, and we're thinking that we'll get to this one in the summer or fall. So we're just trying to get those started as soon as we can. The lights that we were able to fix are for the courts and around the parking lot in the building, but the ball field lights, that is going to have to be a capital improvement project to put in new lights. They were not repairable. And so that's something that we're going to have to put in the lineup to, among the various lights that we've had fail around the island, which is unfortunate.
So Laura, what do you think is feasible? What should they expect to live with here?
Well, for as far as the pickleball court goes and the lighting around that area, we should be able to get those bulbs in and get those operational. We do work with our sister agency, the Department of Facilities Management, because we don't have electricians. So if there's electrical work to be done, we'll work with them to get it done. But if there's bulbs in there and they're working and we just don't have enough bulbs, that's something our department can take care of, and we can go put in the extra bulbs. I have David's email. If any of you else want to get your email on that list, catch me on the side, give me your email address, and I'll give you an update once I go back and talk with our maintenance staff.
Thank you, Laura. You know, not that I want to talk about ending because it's not even 8 o'clock, but at 9 o'clock I will end the formal session, but most of us are going to be around here for a while, and so make sure you get personal contact, okay? Alice.
Ella.
Ella. All right, it was close. But I know who you're friends with, so here we go. All right.
Okay. Back to our little transportation fellow over there. I would like to voice my opinion. We are in the process of trying to build a resiliency hub that will help in a disaster, not only our daily community activities, but will also help in the event of a disaster from Kahuku to Kāʻawa. We have no shelters on this side of the island at all, and this will help that. One of the big problems that we have recently been brought to mind, the Koʻolauloa Road is a backup plan that we have been trying to address with city and county, that in the event that Cam Highway is impassable, which we all know that that is a possibility, the Koʻolauloa Road is the only access that the people from Kahana Valley would be able to get to the resiliency hub. And it also would provide an access for those of us up here to get past Cam Highway when it's out. So we need that area condemned and fixed so that it is passable. There is a group, an LLC, I believe, that has purchased property up there, and they have also accessed a piece of land between Hauʻula Homestead Road and the Koʻolauloa Road, which they now own, which they said they will not allow us to pass through. So if you guys
okay.
could fix that, that would be great.
Well, Hero, I'm going to call you up a little bit. Does emergency services more maybe then Roger. Anything you want to just say, because I know that you and Dottie have been dealing with Hero for a while now.
Yeah, thank you, Mayor. So again, my name is Hiro Toy. I'm the Director for Department of Emergency Management. And thank you for that question, and really applaud the community's efforts here to be resilient. And just, we always say that emergency management takes the whole community, and it's really not just about the government. And you guys have really embraced that, so just really appreciate your efforts and want to continue to be as supportive as possible. So I just want to turn that over to Roger, since it's the question was about the road, right, Koʻolauloa Road. So, Roger?
Well, I'm not really prepared to come and say exactly what we would do with the road. I know that there was the resilience effort that was done up here, which is, what I will say is that we plan to look a lot at the North Shore and at the windward side, and we'll commit to having a dialogue with people in the community. That's basically what I can say at this point. I can't speak to a huge project like the Koʻolauloa Road, which is would be a huge issue. Also, I would also note that there is a state study that is going on now on looking at Kamehameha Highway and looking at the alignment of the highway and considering issues of sea level rises and other issues like that. Those are my partners at State of Hawaii, the Department of Transportation, that are spearheading that study. And all of these, I think, are part and parcel of the challenges we are going to have in the future with the impacts that we are going to have from climate change and from other natural issues like that. But my commitment is to work with the community and our partners at state on looking at the issues, because I think it is a statewide issue.
And Ella, and I appreciate your candor, Roger. Our philosophy from an operating standpoint is to really try to understand the problem. So while I appreciate your articulation here, we'll get more details to see what's feasible. I say this sometimes, and I'll say it now. This job, for all of us, when you take everything else away, this job is about problem solving, trying to understand those problems, develop solutions, and execute. That's what this job is. If you want to know what we do, that's what we do. That's what we're about. And as we all know, as beautiful a place as we live, we are not without our fair share of problems. And some are new and different than ever before. And that takes a lot to take on. So just in that spirit, we'll find out more about it. Now, just since you haven't asked me, in anticipation, self-defense, I actually called Senator Schatz today. Yeah. And I said, Senator, I'm going to be out there tonight. He was aware that we were going to be out here. And I told him, Dottie, we talk about it. So I found out from Hero, he has the most updated information. He's asked me to pass that on to him directly. So, look, we were here a couple of months ago. We held a nice meeting at the elementary school with not as many people as this. Took us out to the site. We saw. I do not disagree that there needs to be a facility where people could go to, and especially something could be multi-purpose, so when you're not dealing in a threatening, life-saving moment, it could be used and utilized by a lot of people in the spirit of community. I understand that. I wish to God it didn't cost $40 or $50 million to build, but at the end of the day, we're going to try to make a run at the best we can, because we're going to need federal support for that. But there's no question, along with not having a pool out here, along with not having a gym out here, that the fact that this side of the island has nothing like that in the event of something that's a weather event that would really save lives, we should do something about. And I promise you that, okay?
Dottie Kelly Paddock. Mayor, thank you so much. I did want to say we appreciated your effort to come out on February 6th and spend time with us at the Hauʻula Community Association. That was a big deal for us. And it was an even bigger deal that you said, don't tell me or try to convince me why you need this. I know you need this. Koʻolauloa Community Resilience Hub here to save lives. So we appreciated that.
Thank you. I don't know why something like that hasn't been built, but we're going to see. I mean, I would tell you one thing, we're not short on needs, and they're out here. I'm actually, Gil Rivera, I'm really interested in sitting down with the people on the $4 million. I want to first of all figure out we can get $1.5 million. I love that kind of a deal. I asked the senator today what all of the monies for all kinds of programs that are happening for infrastructure and other things, whether or not. So he said, here's what I'm telling you, I'm going to personally give him the most up-to-date information, and then I will get back to you. Because we need Washington to help on this
We
one.
would love to give you the most up-to-date information, and we will.
All right.
And I promise you that. And it's not necessarily $40 million, right?
I don't know, that's the price tag you told me.
That's what's been projected by many people, but they doubled it when COVID hit. So, maybe we can do it for less. I think we can.
Can we do it for $4 million? No, I'm just kidding.
No.
That's all right, okay, I know we can, that's okay.
No,
All right,
we can't.
well, okay.
You
thank
know that.
Thank
but
you.
you really did call shots.
I swear to God.
Okay. And I heard some good news today. Jill Takuda has also come out totally for this, and they're looking at $5+ million next year.
Okay,
So you need to help me with that, though.
we will.
Right?
Look, we want to create awareness. We're trying to get as much done as we possibly can.
Okay.
And there's just so much to do. And as I said earlier, we don't want to be deceitful or deceptive, but I love conversations about put lights on the pickleball court, figure out the way to buy us to build us a gym.
We loved it
things
too.
like that. That's part of the reason why we're out here tonight, is to see the things that are really the pressure points that maybe we can do, through our work, beyond all the ordinary things you can expect, to make a big difference in the quality of lives. Everybody in here signed up for that. Let me say something about this group that should be said. When I ran for office and got elected in November of 2020, things were very dark on this island. We had been shut down since March. COVID had brought something to us that none of us could have even imagined. And it was not lasting a day or a week or even a month. It was going on for months. And there wasn't any talk in the months of November and December after we won about a vaccine even being readily available. And yet, I won the election to become mayor. First order of business was to put together a cabinet. And we did some things to do that. And these men and women behind me answered that bell. And many of them even took pay cuts because they understood that we were in a moment of unprecedented adversity with no clear-cut path to the future or what that meant. And they signed up to take these jobs on for love of place and sense of responsibility. And within each and every one of them, just their leadership, their leaders are leaders, okay? And they understood the moment we were in. So I stand here before you tonight really confident because of the men and women behind me. It's not a one-person show. I know where the buck stops, but I'm telling you, this is an extraordinary group of people we have up here who listen to things like this and take it most seriously. Ma'am. Sorry.
Hi, I'm Cynthia Sinclair, and I voted for you, and I think you're doing a good job.
Thank you.
And so I have an issue, though, that is here in Haula. I've been a long-term resident at Hanu Hale. It has been long established as an affordable place for local families with no short-term rentals allowed. Suddenly, we've got this guy comes from Florida. He's sort of easing out all of the renters. He's trying to get rid of any Section 8 people that might be there. He's trying to double the price of all the homes so that, of course, the new owners are jacking up the prices. It's no longer affordable. It seems that, to me, Hanu Hale is a perfect little microcosm of what's happening to our unaffordable housing here in Hawaii. People coming from the mainland, jacking up the prices and just sort of pricing out local families. So I have reported all of these vacation rentals that have started in the building that this guy has approved.
Right.
And so I have reported it to the main place where you report them with pictures and all the details, but I never hear back from anyone.
Well, I'm
So
glad you're here tonight because that's
what
one of
can
the-
I do? That's why I'm
Okay.
here.
All right, so your question is, what are we
What can
doing?
I do?
What are we doing about short-term vacation rentals, right? Because it's really our Kuleana to crack down on that. Jiro, you want to take a stab at that? And then I want to talk about that too, because we got a piece of legislation passed that everybody said couldn't pass, which had everything to do with shutting down short-term illegal vacation rentals and the process. Now, that is housed in DPP. We've done some really good things in the short term of putting together our inspection team, which we want to build on, but also hiring a collection agency so we can enforce the fines, which are serious fines. But go ahead, Jiro.
Thank you, Mayor. So again, my name is Jiro Sumada. I'm the Deputy Director at DPP. I just want to share with you folks what we have done, and then maybe later I can get your name and number, and then I can follow up with you on the things you did report. And I'm sorry if we didn't get back to you straight away.
It's okay. You
Okay,
guys
so,
are busy, I know.
Since I think October or November, we stood up a new branch within the Department of Planning and Permitting to actually address this issue of short-term rentals and the enforcement of it. So since then, we've had 879 requests for investigations, and hopefully some of them were yours. So that means we sent people out to inspect. Now, if we can catch them, that's the key, right? But we've issued 538 notices of violation. So that's when we did catch them. And then we identified the corrective action they needed to take. If they fail to make that corrective action, then it goes to what's called a notice of order. That's where they still have a chance to fix it or stop. And if they don't, then there's a fine that is charged to them, and it's a daily fine. So we've issued 72 notices of order. Now, the group that we stood up, we had to borrow from other branches within the department. So it's not like we had this bunch of folks, just this extra standing around waiting for this new ordinance to enforce. So we actually took some folks, some inspectors from different branches, and we stood it up. We also hired 3 people on their personal service contracts. So we hired them. So there's like about 6 folks that we have available to do this, and this is for the whole island. Okay, so we actually have asked council for more personnel, and they've granted us that. So we're going to fill those positions too, as we build up this permanent workforce to enforce.
We also hired a collection agency, which was unprecedented for the city.
Right. And that was a kind of a cool deal too. That's another tool that we have. So, so the collection agency, we went out for RFP. We got one firm that responded, and they've, I think so far we've sent over about 20. But in any case, it's another tool we have to help collect the fines. And as the word gets out in the community that, you know, we're actively pursuing the violators, then we're hoping that, you know, people start doing the right thing.
Why don't you tell them how much the fines are?
Well, so, okay, Mayor, you probably remember this better than I, so I don't want to say something out of turn.
Go ahead.
No.
We're all one big family tonight. Go ahead.
Well, we've collected so far about $940,000.
But how much is the daily fine? If I'm doing an illegal short-term vacation rental, and I get caught, how much is it?
I think it's $500 a day. Is that? Yeah. And you know, the folks that are doing this, you know, it's a balance of how they operate. So some of them write it off, right? And so they play the game with us. But anyway, it's more about being able to follow through and do the collection. So in any case.
I love this man. He's the deputy. Today I asked him, how long have you been with us? 4 months? And he said 4 months, okay? So the fact that you said 500 is okay, but the fine is 10,000 a day, okay? So, you know, we're playing really serious with this. And we intend That's why we went to an outside agency to help us. But in doing that, there's a process because there's legal things that you have to go through in doing this. But we're dead serious about doing this. In 2019, before COVID, we had over 10.5 million people in this state. Okay? If you talk to the hotel operators, they will tell you at full capacity, let's say 95% capacity on a year-round basis, based on the hotel rooms we have available, the sweet spot for us at a 95% occupancy is about 7.5 to 8 million visitors a year. And we felt that in 2019. And our beaches were overrun, and people were feeling subordinated. And I really felt so were the tourists, not getting the value for their dollar to come here. And we had over 3 million people. Out of that 10.67 million people, 3 million stayed in illegal short-term vacation rentals, many of them on this part of the island. So we know what's going on. And it's taken us a while. I said earlier tonight, I'm not making excuses for anything, but we've been at this for about 13 or 14 months because the first part of our office, being an office, was hard to get stuff like this done. We intend to play real serious about this because of what's at stake for our neighborhoods, our communities, your kids growing up, you living here, and for that matter, it's hard to live here. We all sacrifice to live here. At the very least, we should be able to enjoy this place the way it deserves to be enjoyed and the way we should have it. So we're not going to do that. We're not, and we've got the agreement. We're not selling out for the almighty dollar. Okay? Just know that. Okay?
Well, let me get your name and...
Yeah, because I want to know what my second question would be, what can I do to help? Now that I know what you guys are doing.
Why don't you be a quasi-inspector and just make a confidential call, tell us where these places are.
You bet, I'll be glad.
Yeah, and actually, that's true. If you can just be like our posse
no problem.
in the field.
Yeah, just help us. Help us. No, look, we're going to build up the inspection team. We need more people on the road, but a lot of that is predicated, and there's a confidential hotline on people letting us know. And as Jiro said, the only thing is we've got to be able to ascertain that they're in there illegally, and it's a legal vacation rental, and that's what we're working on. Sir.
Yeah, my name's Randy Rice.
Randy.
Lived here 8 years. It's a wonderful place. I like what you do on the radio, and what is it, Wednesday morning, Thursday morning? I think you're trying to make changes. It's
Thank
good.
you.
Is there a noise ordinance here?
Yeah. You know, that's a great question, Randy, because that's come up in all parts of the island. And we're dealing with it in Waikiki even, where, you know, who wants to talk about the noise ordinance? Are you going to leave me alone here? Who's going to do that? I think, remember when Chief Vanek got up here tonight and introduced himself and said, we do it all? Chief Vanek, come on up. You got a lot of your colleagues in the back of the room, they're all smiling going, this is good. But this has become an issue, Randy. It has become a real issue. Okay? Chief.
Aloha, everyone. Noise is one of those things that's a quality of life issue, and it is difficult. The law requires that we be able to measure the noise at a certain decibel level, at a certain distance. So for us at the Honolulu Police Department, it's difficult because we just don't have the correct tools. There are certain noise laws, though, as they relate to vehicles. For example, if they're blaring loud music, that's something that we have revised ordinances that we don't need decibel meters for that we can enforce. There's other things related to vehicles, like if they're burning out or if they're doing those types of things, we can take enforcement on. But for other things, or even in parks, like if there's amplified music in the parks, there are park rules and revised ordinances that we can take care of for those too. But the only thing I can tell you is if it's something that's occurring frequently and all the time on a regular basis.
It's daily.
Yep.
I mean, you guys could sit in my driveway.
What kind of noise, sir, are you talking about specifically?
People playing their music in their car. I mean,
okay.
I was young. I still do it. There's some songs that I play loud. It's nothing like this. My house shakes. I live somewhere in between the Marriott and we'll say the school here. My house will start shaking. Probably McDonald's.
Do you know if it's happening at a private residence or is it happening on a
it's in
public
car.
roadway?
It's in a truck.
On a
daily.
Public roadway?
It's daily. And it's like, not just the things in my house, I shake. I was in, and it's not just here. I was in town on the Nimitz. I was sitting at a red light, and this noise was so horrible. And I've been through some stuff, 22 years in the military. I ran the red light. I didn't know what to do. And it's like, after I did it, I was like, I just ran a red light. But I was just trying to get away from the noise. And it's like, you know, I believe, you know, we're trying to get the vacation rentals, we're trying to do this, we're trying to do this. If we don't start with the small stuff and let that go, well, then other things are okay. And, you know, I don't see a lot of enforcement going on here. And it's like, you give the guy one ticket, and I'm sure, you know, he's not going to want to pay that ticket. And I don't think he'll do it again. I mean, it's just something that we can nip in the butt real quick. And it's got to bother other people. I cannot be the only person that's bothered by it.
So just to answer your question, definitely noise is bad, but don't run red lights. That's not a good idea. It's unsafe, but I understand your frustration. The one thing that I can tell you to do is there's a couple ways that we can handle this. I know you may not think it's something that's worth calling, but really one of our resources is call 911. Let us know that this is going on. If you don't think that it's risen to that level and you want to maybe go to our website and let us know, we have information that you can use, that'll email address that you can send it directly to the district that's involved. So this particular district is our District 4 patrol, for those of you who aren't aware.
But Chief, what if he were to write down the license plate number of the person doing that? Because a 911 call, sir, in all honesty, the guy is going to be gone by the time the police get there.
Yeah.
So there's nothing to enforce under that circumstance.
So that's the other thing. So if you're able to meet with an officer when you call 911, if you see that it's the same vehicle all the time, if you're able to give us a license plate, but the mayor is very true, is unless you're able to like give us, you can give us a description of the person, or we can catch the person in the act, it's difficult for us to take enforcement action.
I find it hard to believe.
No, I'm just telling you what the law is.
It's not the time of year right now, but fireworks are illegal here.
Yes.
It's insane. I've never seen it. I don't have a dog anymore, so I really don't care.
So fireworks is not only just an enforcement problem. We're working with other state, federal even agencies. It's really about stopping fireworks from coming into the state, period. And if we're able to do that, and obviously there's other avenues in trying to get people to listen, which obviously we can see they're not. But just even the ability, if we were to take every single officer and just do firework enforcement, we still wouldn't be able to completely stop it.
I think you guys are going to have, for fireworks, I think you're going to have to form another department like you did the vacation rental thing.
So, I think, while I totally agree, because even in the area that I live, it's very frustrating. You know, we do have to prioritize. And there are other things, if there are people getting assaulted or if there's things going on and they call 911, we need to make sure that our officers are available so that they can answer those calls for service. So while I understand your frustration for fireworks, please know that it can't only be the police that is out there trying to get things done. We have to work with other federal, city, state agencies in order to try and make sure that if we can even stop it from coming in to begin with. So that's probably the first step that we need to do.
I think the communities themselves can do something too. I think the communities could take some ownership. One of the things I've been really encouraged with as we've been making these trips is a community pride, as I'm sure exists here tonight. And there's a lot of empowerment in this room on what you could do about it. It's not comfortable, but it's probably more practical than thinking the police are going to stop the fireworks, unless they can deal with it systemically on the black market stuff coming in, and that takes the feds as well. Yes, ma'am.
Aloha, everybody. I'm Coach Kai. I'm here with Coach Noah. We actually coach the swim team at Kahuku High, so thank you, everyone, for giving us your Red Raiders. We are so grateful for the energy and enthusiasm going into this pool and exercise facilities here, and we just have a simple question. What is a timeline that we can expect? You know, the athletes ask us every day, hey coach, we don't have answers for that. And just to support that question, what can the community do to help?
Well, Coach Kai, that's a great question. I told you openly, I only learned about this prior to coming out here. I didn't realize. I thought because of all being a football guy and knowing certainly Kahuku, I thought we had that whole enchilada out here as far as swimming pools and everything. I was surprised to learn that, you know, so give us a chance. I don't know the timeline. I am going to follow up. It's okay to say former Senator Rivera, you know, I am going to follow up with him. We'll have those conversations with AES. We'll see what we can possibly do. That's why I was really proud. That's why I brought up the Waipahu thing. In fact, it's not only Waipahu we just opened up. Where's the other one? Pearl City. Same thing. These pools were closed for a long time. That was like, so I would, remember I said at the beginning tonight, I'm not going to tell you something that we can't deliver on. It's a good question. You know, give us a chance. We'll come back to you. We'll get your contact information. We know you're the swimming coach at Kahuku. We know you want a pool. How can you coach swimming without a pool? I don't know, but okay. All right, we got it. Thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Aloha. My name is Melissa. My last name is Koʻolauloa. I sit on a foundation called Lahui Foundation that has been servicing our Koʻolauloa community and beyond around the islands. But we originally, the 5 of us, live here on this side, mainly in Kahuku. To that noise, about the noise thing, I thought that was interesting because in my head I was laughing because imagine hearing whoosh, whoosh, whoosh all day long from those monstrous turbines. And so anyway, I just thought to myself, like, is there something that we can do something about that noise factor over there? To move forward, my question is there any, because everybody kind of touched on a lot of things that our foundation has been involved in our community already, but there's a dire need of more social services and resources for our people here on this side. And with the pandemic, what we have seen was, and it opened up our eyes, is that there wasn't a lot of services that were being provided.
What kind of
so
services?
Like for our houseless individuals, those mental health services, we have places like, so our office is located in Hauula Center, Community Center. Dottie has graciously gave us an area, so we're super grateful because we're able to provide services through them. Anyway, she knows, and they're limited. They even have limited sources. So my thing is that we had seen so many nonprofits being up that came out of nowhere that were able to come and help during this time, during that pandemic. Now, is there any way that the state or city can provide more funding to maybe nonprofits to continue to do that work, right? Other than us trying to go out and we're trying to like find grants and trying to find all these things to help people.
We got your question. I think there is a possibility. Mike wants to take this.
Yeah, I just want to give an initial answer, and then I want Anton Krucky to speak to it more discreetly. But I'll tell you, we did a good thing today, and that was Anton was part of the meeting that we had with the state, Dr. Fink from the Department of Health, because one thing we committed when the mayor came into office was that we would work better with the state to align our money and our resources. And the truth is, they are the gorilla in the room when it comes to mental health services, not the city and county. But we have the funds and the office, Department of Land Management, to provide the facilities. So working together, we can actually partner with them and bring more resources to the community. And today we had a very productive meeting, and we're going to be following that up. But Anton can tell you how we can do more in this community near term.
Okay, mahalo for that.
Thank you, Mike. First, thank you for all the work you do. It's great. We're very aware of it.
Thank you. Thank you.
You know, the city recently awarded a hui made up for nonprofits, Achieve Zero, you know them, Rise, and ASI. And they're going to do a shelter for youth, at-risk youth. And we feel if we can, you know, capture that at that moment, you can stop a series of things happening. I know Dottie's told me about needs for more shelters, and we'll interact with the community on that. I think for the nonprofits, IHS has the state contract in this area. One of the things I wanted to say, though, is one of the more difficult things, especially when you're dealing with unsheltered folks that have mental issues. Really, the road there is very difficult because, you know, you need to have them, as you well know, to accept your services for us to try to do the things that we want to do. But in their state, they really won't agree to do that. And so there's two things I wanted to mention to the group. One is if you can engage the family That is one of the best things. And if you're engaging the family, and if the family's kind of at their wit's end, then let us know, because we can work with families to help them get ready to engage another member of their family, and then maybe they can get guardianship. And if they can get guardianship, then they can get treatment for the person. The other is if you happen to engage somebody that has mental illness or is really struggling on the street, it could be medical or something like that, there is a state line that you can call, 988. And if you call that line, the only thing I tell you is be close to the person when you do it, because they're going to do some validation on the phone. They're going to ask you to, can you talk to the person? Don't let go of your phone, but hold it there. So I'm just saying, don't go home and do it. Do it at the spot there. We also issued grants and aid, which are about $200,000 each for organizations. And, I work closely with Matt Wire, who's your council member, and he worked in community services with me. And we've worked together, and he keeps me tuned on issues in this community and how we can get more money to you. So, we're in the process now of announcing the awards for this year for grants and aid, but the process starts again in June. So apply.
Perfect.
Yeah, we want to give it to you. We have about $8 million we give out, and $200,000 for each service organization can go a long way.
Thank you. Mahalo. I have a quick thing to say, though. So a few weeks ago, we had an expungement event, and I just wanted to let the community know that about 26 individuals that stood up for our community against the turbines. We had 18 attorneys that came out pro bono to do all of their work, and the Hui Foundation also went ahead and we sponsored that event, and right now they're all in the process of getting their records expunged, and these are all people from our community.
Thank you. Thank you. Let me echo thank you for the work you do. Come on up.
Aloha, I'm Lorraine Azen-Matangi, and I am from Punalu.
Hello, Lorraine.
And I feel really bad that DPP has been sitting too long. So, am I right?
Jero.
Okay. So, I'm so sorry. I know you've only been in 4 months, but we might as well just share with you.
But now here's the thing about Jero. He used to work at DPP before. We went and got this guy and brought him back. So it's not like he's unknowing, but
I'm a retiree.
Yeah. Well, you're not allowed to retire on my watch, But, go ahead.
Our concern is, for example, we have a development that has proposed, it's called Kahanabai, and they bought ag land right in Punalu, right along Kamehameha Highway, and they want to have a glamp ground. And this is a concern because we're losing precious ag land because they're buying developers. Our people in the state can't buy anything. We can't afford, but the developers
Who's selling
are buying.
ag land? This is the first I heard of it.
This is ag land that they bought, which they're allowed to. You can buy ag land if it's for sale. And a lot of times they've gotten it when it was cheaper. And they know the loopholes. And so they are then trying to develop. Now there are 5 existing homes on it. They want to add more. The concern we have is with DPP, it's already been to community and it'll be going before Koʻolauloa Neighborhood Board in May. The concern is that this process is someone at DPP watching to make sure when ag land is on the market as part of the permit that they are developing either R5 or ag land, that it's not being used for a development. And as a result of that, they have glamping now at Punalu Beach, not just the park. And so they are renting out vans even now and allowing people to camp overnight. So my concern is with DPP, my question is, who's the watchdog? Because a lot of times by the time it gets to the neighborhood boards, they're already into a system. They're already into the proposal process.
So, and I'm not familiar with their, the property that you're talking about.
We can probably give you a copy.
If you can give me that TMK or the address.
We are very happy. We are happy to give it to you.
And I'm probably guessing you probably already sent in some concerns, so.
But the concern is they're representing to you one way and advertising a different
Well, the reason why I asked about who's
Yeah.
selling ag land, that's not a city and county function. That's state ag land. Are we
But
selling?
it's, the permitting for the permitting for what they want to do is
Yeah.
going through
Yeah, we have-
DPP.
Okay.
We have jurisdiction.
So they're
I
buying the
understand
land, and
Okay.
then they're doing the permitting through you.
But their permit is, sorry.
Go ahead, hon.
My name's Lisa. Their permit is, planned is for a park. Okay?
Lisa,
Oh, sorry.
speak in the microphone.
Sorry. Their plan that they're presenting for permitting is that they intend to use it as a park for the neighborhood, for the 11 homes that they intend to build. And at the same time, they're advertising on YouTube that it'll be a 29-stall glamping facility
Okay.
with bathrooms and individual showers.
All right.
And they've already started purchasing the vans.
This sounds very familiar, actually, in other areas of the island. So anyway,
It's not the first we've heard of that.
we can follow up with them. They need to follow the zoning laws that we have in place about dwelling units on the property, and we are the agency that would check whether they can or they cannot add more dwellings. I have been hearing that there's this kind of loophole about RV vehicles.
Yes.
So maybe we can figure something out with the council member from the district or something
One
to
other
fill that loophole.
Let's get the address. You have all that information,
And
right?
the other thing that I wanted to bring up is, that's in a flood zone and a tsunami zone. That is not out of the tsunami zone. So we're just concerned about whether any permitting should go forward.
And we have additional rules for those in those areas. So if I can just get the TMK number and
Yeah.
the address.
Thank you. It's good. Thank you. Yeah. Ms. Well, we love having this kind of a meeting. This is great. Go ahead, sir.
Hello, my name is Jacob. I'm just
Jacob.
gonna share an idea, see if you guys ever thought about it before, which you guys probably did, which is talking about green energy.
Talking about green energy.
Yeah. So one of the things I was wondering if you guys ever thought about is for hydropower, not for rivers, but from treatment plants. Because like Sand Island, Kailua, and Honolulu, they treat millions of gallons of water. I was wondering if you guys ever thought of throwing a hydro generator at the treatment side.
Okay. Michael O'Keefe or Matt Gonzer, if not both of you.
Aloha. Thank you. That's a great idea. And so it's interesting. You know, we have 9 wastewater treatment plants on island. One, of course, in Laie. Each of them is uniquely different. For Sand, you mentioned Sand Island. So for Sand Island, we have one in Waianae, one in Kailua. What happens after the water is treated? It's ejected into the ocean via a deep ocean outfall, several thousand feet off the shoreline. For Laie, we actually, the Laie plant is very sophisticated. The treatment process makes very high quality water. And we actually give that to a local end user, and they use it for irrigation purposes. So as far as our ability to do that at that specific type project at Laie, we'd have to look into that. But the main point I want to make is your point of somehow capturing energy at our treatment plants is not lost, and it's actually something we're aggressively pursuing. We're putting PV at all the plants where it can accommodate them, and then there's a lot of, the treatment process involves a lot of generation of a lot of methane. We capture that methane and we use it for on-site purposes for heating and electricity generation on-site, and whatever we don't sell, we sell to Hawaii Gas, actually at our Honolulu wastewater treatment plant. They have a pipeline out there, we're putting it in to their pipeline, and we have projects already programmed in our CIP budget to do that at basically every plant. So it's a really great point. We think of our solid waste and wastewater not as waste, but as still a resource that has value, such as energy generation. It's a great point.
Yeah, the reason I brought it up is because when going for green energy, every community needs to pitch in, and rural communities shouldn't be the one with the burdens.
Understood, agree.
Well said. Matt, anything you want to add to that? Michael, that was excellent. That's good. That's good. CIP, by the way, stands for Capital Improvement Program. That's a source of funds where we make things, fix things, that kind of stuff.
Good
Yes.
evening, Mayor, department heads. Thank you for coming. I believe my question is directly for the chief here. In Koʻolauloa, we've seen an uptick in crime, as in most of the areas, but we're severely undermanned in manpower for HPD. Is there a possibility of bringing more manpower out here and possibly another substation because of the geographical distance that they travel?
Good question. Thank you. Chief? Okay, sorry. Getting pretty quick there, Chief.
So our District 4 patrol district is actually the only district island-wide that has three police stations. We have one in Kailua, one in Kāne, and actually one in Kahuku. The geographic area, I think, out here is probably second in size, probably only to the North Shore, Wahiawa, but the density here, as far as the number of people, is probably bigger than Mililani, North Shore, Wahiawa area. You know, typically, I think we have, Hunter, about 17 officers. So we have about 17 officers working at any given time on any shift, uniform patrol, but that doesn't include our officers, our community policing team officers who aren't answering calls for service and are doing proactive stuff within the community, like working with community groups, working with different schools, working with nonprofit organizations. We also have our crime reduction units, which are plainclothes officers who you may not even know are out there, but we have a very robust team out there working on stuff like burglary series or individuals who are known to be using drugs and stuff like that. For Chief Logan, one of his priorities is to look at our staffing island-wide, not just in patrol, but also in our support units, to see if there's a way that we can reallocate individuals from support non-patrol units to patrol units. And in the upcoming, what we call personnel movements, one of his plan is to dedicate the individuals who are assigned newly to different assignments, specifically to patrol. So to answer your question, we do have plans as a department to take more of our staff and instead of putting them into support units, putting them into patrol, and that includes this area here. So to answer your question, yes, we do have plans within the near future to beef up patrol, including this district.
Thank you, Chief. Thank you. All right, so we have just about a half hour left. So I'm going to implore you, if you have a question, please don't leave here tonight not asking it, so we can try to answer it. Yes, sir.
Aloha kako. My name is Valeriano Guido. I'm from the Kuku Community Association, and I'm the Vice President. I come before you to have more emphasis on the Lahui has helped the Kuku Community Association being sponsored for us. We're going to be anticipating a National Wildlife Foundation grant that's going to be helping us with mitigation for flooding in Kahuku. Can you, the mayor, and your board work with us and that grant to help with the community center, all that, the phase 4 housing in Kahuku, which is in highly neglect right now? It's just more important. We don't have a rail. We pay the taxes for the rail. The whole Koʻolauloa can contest. We will not ever use the rail.
Yeah, well, you may someday, but let me just ask you.
Someday, yeah.
You might take a ride, okay? I mean, never say never, right?
I gotta pay for parking.
Yeah, well, we're working on that.
Okay.
All right. I want to understand your question a little bit better. What is it you want from us?
So what we want is we're going to get funding to help do the drainage problem with flooding in Kahuku.
Yeah.
Because not one product cannot be built over there without saying flood zone, flood zone,
Right.
flood zone. So with that, we're working with Lahui, is our physical sponsor, because the Kahuku Community Association cannot ask for the National Wildlife funding because we need a sponsor.
Okay.
Now we are anticipating of getting that money. Now that when we do get the money, is there a way we can talk to one of your cabinet members to aid us in coordinating getting the recreation center, the pool, did I say pool?
I got the pool.
Yeah, but based on that, the importance of the Koʻolauloa, I'm a first responder, and as a community member, we have problems with handy vans taking too long to help the kupuna. So if we have an emergency, same thing. Why? We need the resilience centers with Auntie Dottie and us Kahuku, because we're the Kupunago of the emergencies, like that flooding zone again.
Right.
Yeah.
Well said. Good question.
So thank you for your question. I'm not familiar with that particular fund, but if we could step to the side and talk about it, I'd love to hear more and figure out how we can add on to this effort.
Yeah, we're open to that. Okay. Now, you have a sign up here that says, "Pick us, Mayor Rick." I'm going to come right to you in a second. Do you? Okay, it's the pool. Okay, I got it. All right. I just want to be sure, and it's 40-year promises. Is that tied to the pool too? Yeah. Who made that promise 40 years ago? Ah, okay. I don't know, you probably couldn't hear that. Her parents bought a house in 1982. They were told they were buying a house, a pool would be there, but no pool showed up. It wasn't me, I promise you. I didn't tell them that. Okay, young lady. Okay, young lady.
We heard about the Soleil for Memorial Day, the art contest, and it would be good if the city could work with the State Department of Education to share the opportunity with all public schools across the state, because me and my school didn't hear about it. I love doing art so it would be great if we could do it. I like doing art because there is no limit and you can draw anything from your imagination. And I want kids like me to have the opportunity to also do it.
Okay, very sweet. Okay, Mom, can you help us out with that just so we're really clear about what she's asking us?
The Department of Recreation does programs.
Yes.
And those programs are announced on Instagram, but we don't hear about them because we don't have a large presence of departments of Parks and Recreation here in this area. And so it's a barrier to access for our kids to participate. So can we partner with the schools?
Thank you. I just wanted to make sure. Laura.
Thank you very much for the suggestion. And what we'll do next year, we'll reach out through the Department of Education to ask them to help give notice to all the students to make sure that more kids are aware. For those of you who don't know, every year the Department of Parks and Recreation leads an effort for Memorial Day to have volunteers around the island and actually around the state sew a lei. So we're able to place a lei on the grave of every soldier that's buried at Punch Bowl for the mayor's Memorial Day celebration. And we have a poster contest where kids around the island will design posters, and we just had a ceremony. The mayor and the council recognized the winners. Next year we will go through the DOE. And we'll try to reach out to more of the kids. But we are asking people to help volunteer either with picking flowers and dropping them off at sites for sewing leis, and also volunteers who may want to sew lei at home and drop them off, or come down to a site and sew lei together. So last year, a lot of people we decided to also do tea leaf lei in addition to plumeria. So a lot of people were teaching others on how to do tea leaf lei. And our Parks and Recreation Public Information Officer, Nate Sirota, is right over there, and he can give you information if anybody wants to help with the Sew a Lei effort this year. And I look forward to seeing your poster next year when you come on up.
Yeah,
Thank you.
And that's, thank you, Laura. And that is really very well done. And I would tell you, I had a chance to present certificates to a bunch of young people, pretty much like your daughter said, and I was blown away at the quality of the artwork. So we want to do everything we can to celebrate that. Okay, thank you. Yes, ma'am.
Hi, good evening. My name is Amy Nielsen. I am a clinical nutritionist. I work here with Dottie and Dr. Chang and Ella in our Kapuna group here.
I bet that's a lot of fun.
It is a hell of a lot of fun.
Yeah.
This is probably one of my favorite groups. I work actually all over the island, doing nutrition all over the island. My concern out here really is about food sustainability and food sovereignty. And Dottie does a bang-up job getting food pantry and food out here to this really underserved community. What can you as a board do to help us get more food out here? We have one tiny little grocery store here. During COVID, it was out of food.
Are you talking about growing food or supplying food in the stores?
Both. I work with kids doing the USDA Grow It, Try It, Like It program, so we're teaching kids how to eat out here, how to grow their food out here. We're also taking that program and making it more culturally appropriate out here, taking out the colonizing foods and putting in our indigenous foods out here too. So we're really looking at bringing back our native foodways out here.
Okay. Well, who would like to take it? Amy.
Amy for Amy. Yay!
Because we have a couple of cool programs involving food under the Office of Economic Revitalization.
So the Hauʻula Community Center was a site for distributing some of the food that the city has provided to the community from 2020 up until today. It was about 32 million during the pandemic, and that money, my name is Amy Osselby with the Office of Economic Revitalization. So our efforts around food and agriculture have to do with kind of trying to keep it full circle. So every single penny of that 32 million went into local food. That means food grown here on our island, and some from our neighbor islands, actually. But that's what we provided to the food bank to get out to community partners like the Hauʻula Community Association to distribute to our neighbors. I'm happy to say that there was a small ag grants program that was open early last year, and we're in the process of getting $3 million up to $50,000 grants to, again, farmers across the island of Oʻahu. That's kind of being announced one by one. Farmers don't love to work with government, so it's taken a lot of work, again, with community partners and people who speak languages other than English to work with a lot of the farmers on our island. And so we're happy to be awarding 65 of those grants up to $50,000 to encourage them, to plant, to keep up the work, and to make sure that it's going back to our own people. Finally, we have another $8 million thanks to the council support that we're working towards getting out for food systems. And so when we talk about food systems, we're looking at the whole universe of how we grow, how we keep food safe when it comes from the farm to get it to the market or to a community distribution point, as well as to help our farmers market it, as well as to just have a place for cold storage or aggregation. So when it's ready, that it can be taken out to our neighbors and make sure that the food that people need, especially because inflation is increasing, and in some cases people's incomes are either staying the same or going down. And so we want to make sure that it's not just for emergency. We know there's a lot of folks out there. It's just day-to-day food access, that when they get that food, if the city is helping, it's coming from our neighbors. It's coming from our local farmers. And that's our commitment to support in that area. So I hope that's kind of what you were seeking and hoping. This is a whole new area of work for the city and county of Honolulu. We don't have a Department of Agriculture. We have two people that some of your friends know who work on these issues and came to these type of programs because of advocates like you all who encouraged us and have built the momentum that's already out there in the community to make this happen.
Amy, could you shed a little bit of light on the Good Food Program? Because I think that's a really good stimulus as well for our urban farmers.
So we're also very excited to get some of our bigger institutional partners that the city has a relationship with to commit to local food. And so the mayor has been at both of our announcements where we've worked with big institutional partners, Hawaii Pacific Health, Kamehameha Schools, and some other private schools, as well as the city ourselves, our People's Open Market, as well as the Department of Environmental Services, to get a baseline of support on their purchasing and distribution of local food, and to agree over time to increase that. Recently, in February, the hotel industry, the hospitality industry, so 20 of our largest hotels on this island and restaurants committed to doing the same, to establishing a baseline of what they're purchasing today, and year over year report to the city, and we'll have it on our website, revitalizeoahu.org, the increase in the amount of local food that they're purchasing to either use in their restaurants or to sell otherwise if it's a, if it's a restaurant, etc.
My follow-on question on that is we've got a lot of really great programs for growing food and distributing food, but we don't have an awful lot of really great programs on teaching how people can eat that food. Nutrition education is sorely lacking on this island at the state level and at the county level. Do you have any plans on adding educators?
We don't currently, but we do work closely with the Elderly Affairs Division in Anton's department. And so that's one of the areas where there is nutrition education, is focused on some of our Meals on Wheels and other of our kupuna programs. So we haven't delved in there as far. As I mentioned, this is a brand new thing for the city. So, I mean, if we have more than 2 people as we grow, I think that's something that could be in our future. And we will continue to, listen and hope that we can work with you in the future on ideas like that.
Excellent, thank you.
Great questions, thank you. Okay, Dottie, you're back. Go ahead.
I do have quite a few years' experience now working at the Hauʻula Community Center for social services. And people brought this up tonight, and it's very true. This whole community of Koʻolauloa suffers from not having enough social services. And one major reason why, and this is another reason for the Resilience Hub, is we don't have any infrastructure out here for those services to be offered. That's why right now we have over 30 partners that are playing musical chairs at Hauʻula Community Center, because we can entice them out if we have more space and a good road. I must mention that. And that's another reason the Resilience Hub is so important. It's not just because it's going to save lives.
No, and I said that at the outset,
I
right?
know,
It's a great...
but we need the infrastructure for the services. And you've got to hear that, because that's very important.
Well,
and
we did. And you heard Mike say that the state is really the gorilla, the big gorilla when it comes to wraparound services. But we feel really confident on what we're going to be doing with them, because our strategy and how we're dealing with homelessness and involving a lot of mentally ill people as well as people addicted is going to require that kind of care. And so I've been having a lot of conversations with Governor Green. In fact, the night that he got elected, they called me up to the stage, and I said on stage, right there with him standing right next to me, and promised the people of the state, but certainly I was speaking for Oʻahu, that they could expect unprecedented collaboration between the state and the city. And that's something this group is really good at, and it's something I personally promised. So we understand that. These are incredible shortages that we have, we try to do everything we possibly can, Dottie. I can tell you that. That's as serious as anything you could talk about. I get it, and I think it's a city and state that can help with that. So.
And I think I have a question for Amy again.
Go ahead.
But this is another need that we have, is there've been since COVID has diminished somewhat, a lot of great workforce development programs in the city around the island. I'm not sure if you're doing any workforce development, but we are too far from all the workforce development programs. And we desperately need workforce development out here for our youth and for our workers who want to get better jobs.
So thanks for the opportunity to speak on that. Our Work Hawaii division, again, is with Department of Community Services, so I'll let Anton speak to that. Presently, we hope to sign a $5 million contract with the University of Hawaii, who in 2 previous iterations of Oʻahu Back to Work has also subcontracted with the carpenters for a pre-apprenticeship program, with Purple Maya for a technology training program. But every single one of those iterations of this program, including this newest one that we hope to roll out this summer, allows individuals to take these courses online. And so if technology is an issue, the university bought 400 computers so they can provide those to the trainees in this program, and they also bought personal MiFi devices. So we're happy to say that, well, there will be potentially some transportation issues and picking up a laptop. Anyone should be able to take a course, even if you can't get out of your home. There are courses available here on this island from all the colleges, as well. This workforce training program allows people to take classes at Kauai Community College or Maui College. So we'll be getting the word out to you and other community partners here, and we really need your support to encourage people to enroll, and that's where I think Work Hawaii comes in, because they are the partner in this program that really brings people to the table who are ready for this training.
Yeah, thank you, Amy. First off, you know, I think to the center there that Elderly Affairs comes out on a pretty regular basis to do seminars and work with people. So we're trying to get out here. On the Work Hawaii, we kind of approach this from a couple of different ways, and we can do both job training, but then also connect you to be hired. So the full circle of those activities. And what we can do is we can come out to your centers and discuss what it is that would work for you, to what particular things that you're trying to achieve, and what programs we can put together that'll bring it together for this community. And we're glad to do that. I'll bring Lade Nakamura out here. We have vans that come out. We do the online training, right? But we also do a lot of training in town, and I can see that there's a gap there. So let's come out. We'll talk to you about that gap, and no problem there, because we love coming out to the center all the time anyway. So thank you.
Kahu.
Aloha.
Aloha.
Thank you all for coming out to our Koʻolauloa. We appreciate the time you've taken, and your families for allowing you to come out here. I am Ka'umealani Wak, and I serve in the Hawaiian Language Immersion Program at Kahuku. We serve students from grades 7 to 12, and we teach them entirely in Hawaiian. My question is referenced from the idea that everything we do here and now will benefit our grandchildren 7 generations from now. Whatever expertise we have learned, whatever we have to offer, it will benefit them who we will never meet in this life. And so, Mayor, although my question may not be a temporal one, which is usually this fine body addresses the needs that we have out here. My question has to do with what was mentioned about ʻāina, and it has to do with collaboration. In order for me to do a good job where I am, I need to help my students understand the richness of what is in this ʻāina. And many times I cannot, because those sites that are sacred, those sites that are special, those sites that you can feel only when you're there are privately owned. or are gated. And my ask is not to change what is in motion, but my ask is there a space here in this body that will help us identify those places, will help us work collaboratively with the state and private landowners to have access so that my students can be groomed into becoming stewards of those places here in Koʻolauloa. I know that there are many issues about building. I know that there are many issues about taking care of us here and now. My ask is for them 7 generations from now.
Mike, you want to say something?
Oh, this wasn't meant to be one hard question.
So Mike just reminded me of something that we just did, which is the Oʻahu Historic Site Preservation. And I would tell you, I was blown away. And Kahu, you're reflective of the quality of people that came forward at the 9 men and women we've put on that commission. Hasn't been publicly announced yet. We had a lot of different resumes, read in the letters of their intention, many statements like you just made. And so that commission is going to help us, and I think that's a group that you could work with because, you know, look, I have a Boston accent, okay? I grew up there till I was 18 years old, and I came to Hawaii in 1965. And I may not have Hawaiian blood in me. I'm not really born here. My 3 children were, but I've always felt like I was from here. And I can feel what you're saying, and that's why we did what we did. And I would tell you, and I very seldom say things this way, there were mayors before me who tried to do that, and politically didn't get it done, and we did. So we go forward, we'll get you that contact group, Kahu. You could work with them, because what you raise and bring up is really important. Somebody said to me not long ago, and I think Mahatma Gandhi is the source, because I'm not exactly sure, but he said to me in the challenge of what we were doing, he said, just remember, Blangiardi, that great men plant trees that they know they'll never sit in the shade of. And I understand what you're talking about with respect to future generations and our responsibility right now. That was part of the reason why we even decided to run for office. It was a leadership challenge to try to make a difference and not be somebody who just wanted to point fingers at why the other person wasn't getting it done. So I promise you, we'll give you the contact information. And since we're out of time, if you have a question that you didn't get to answer, if you want to give it to our people over here, Kelly's there, write it down, give us our contact information, and we will get back to you. You have been an absolutely tremendous crowd tonight. It is an honor for us to be here with you. I want to thank you for coming out. I also want to remind everybody, I've been told it's been raining very heavy for the last 90 minutes. Please, please be careful going home. Okay?
Yeah, Mayor, before we leave,
yes, Kahu.
I would humbly ask that all of us, not only you folks, but all of us in this room, take into account that point of reference of 7 generations ahead of us. In whatever we do, whatever degrees we hold, because if we think in those terms, the answers that we need will come. Mahalo.
Well, beautiful. Thank you. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. What a great way to finish tonight. Thank you, Kahu. Thank you, everybody. Go home, be safe, drive carefully.